Hey guys, welcome to the Techpoint Africa podcast. My name is Emmanuel.
And I'm Bolu.
Bolu, thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome.
You've been escaping me, you've been dodging me. One-on-one. We're supposed to meet and talk about all the wahala your people are causing.
My people.
Okay, so just to be clear, we're going to be talking about a very, very important issue today. Africa's crypto market, Africa's crypto industry, and how do we survive this crypto winter that has stayed long and long and long. And Bolu, what's going on? Continue. Every time, it's always one issue or the other. One scam. Somebody that stole money from some innocent investors.
Okay.
Then hold on for dear life.
Okay.
So what's going on?
So what happens is, the crypto industry, blockchain, whatever you want to call it, is an emerging technology, right? So
Really?
emerging
How old is
technologies,
Bitcoin?
when it's still emerging. Do you know
Okay.
how old some technologies are?
That are still emerging.
Yes, there
Okay.
are technologies that have been around since like the 1940s, and they are still emerging technologies. So it's just
1940s.
yes,
Okay.
it's just the level of development
Mm.
that. So Bitcoin, crypto, they are still in this category. So with things that are still developing, you tend to see a lot of that it's times like this that the mistakes will come out, and then we'll be able to like fix these mistakes and make them better. My people are doing well. They are doing good.
Okay. Yeah, interestingly, maybe I might not get the chance to drag Boli enough today because we have a special guest in the house and he's going to help us dissect everything that's going on in Africa's blockchain and cryptocurrency space. And Mr. Ezekiel Ojewunmi. I hope that I pronounce his name correctly. Yeah, so Ezekiel is the marketing and communications lead at Quidax, one of Africa's largest cryptocurrency exchanges. So thank you for having us today.
Thank you so much for bringing me on.
Yeah. Okay. You are going to gang up on me, but I'm ready for you guys.
I have someone to someone to back me up.
We're here for that today.
Yeah, here for that. It's okay. So before we start talking about these whole issues on cryptocurrencies and all of that, let's first pay homage to the Techpoint business team.
Hi, I'm Abisola Adenoga, the head of business at Techpoint Africa. Did you know that you could present yourself as a reputable brand leader? Did you know that your business can get the limelight it deserves? Now you do. Using Techpoint Africa's marketing tools, we can put you in the faces of a large audience for brand awareness and thought leadership. To do this, reach out to us by sending an email to business@techpoint.africa or click on the link in the description below.
Hey guys, welcome back. And yes, remember we have a very, very special guest in our midst today, the marketing lead at Quidax. I think I need to re-emphasize that they're one of the biggest crypto exchanges. So it's very, very big deal that we have them here today. And Ezekiel,
Yes.
it's the crypto winter.
Okay.
It's also called the beer run.
The beer run. Let's reserve beer for stock markets.
Well, it still works.
But interesting enough, the way the stock market works in terms of the terms that you use, even in Forex, also applies in crypto as well. So when the stock market is also in the bear market, crypto also is, at this point, is also in the bear market as well. You could also say that.
Interesting. Okay, we're going to come back to that.
Backing me up already.
Okay.
We're going to come back to that, right? But first things first, how is Quidax holding up? I mean, we're seeing many blockchain companies, Web3 companies laying off staff. Yeah. There's Coinbase, there's OpenSea, blockchain.com, crypto.com, different countries, all in the Web3 space, and they're laying off staff this period. Yeah. So what's going on and how has Quidax been holding up?
Okay, in terms of what's going on in the market, is that what happens is obviously in times like this, it doesn't just happen in crypto, it happens across industries. When you are hit, maybe cash flow is affected, you need to reduce your costs. So what you see is they're trying to reduce number of people, basically trying to reduce their cost. But one of the things I think we have done at Quidax right from start is, one, ensuring that we hire the right people at the right time. So we don't overhire, we don't underhire. We hire at exactly the right time of people that we need at that point in time. So that's helped us to ensure that, one, we don't have way too many people that we need at that point in time. Two, something else we told ourselves is when this started to happen was that we didn't want to it's not a good time to be able to tell people, oh, you have to go and find a new job because we can't continue that. Because one of the things that we had said was when we did our risk assessment was one of the what could affect us, that was one thing, overhiring. And we ensured that was not a problem right from start. So going back to the second point was that we wanted to ensure that we wouldn't face this. So beyond looking at our costs, we said, what do we need to ensure that we're always not spending beyond, whether it's on the people side, whether it's on the tech side, or whether it's on the marketing side. So that was something that we had always ensured that we are within the cost that we need to spend. And most essentially, what builds every business is people. And this would be a bad time to tell people not just to go home, but a bad time for the business. Because we're not just building for 6 months from now or 1 year from now. We are building for 5 years from now. And if you were to tell our people, some of the people that we have today, to go home, it doesn't just affect them, it affects us in terms of what we want to build. It affects our plans. So something we're supposed to build in 1 year will end up becoming 2 years. So we said, okay, we don't want to tell anybody to go home. What we would do is, because we had already done a good job of ensuring that we had the right number of people, so it was just a matter of taking a look at our business structure and saying, what can we do and what can we change to ensure we have everybody that we have still on the business and ensure we hit our KPIs for the products that we wanted to build in the time frame that we have.
So talking about people, I know Web3 companies, it's just an assumption, but I just assume that Web3 companies spend a lot of money. A lot of money. So, Bolu, am I wrong or right?
Well, yeah, you're right.
Use your conscience.
You're right, actually, and it's true that I've not really seen the financials of, say, any Web3 company, but before we even go into Web3 companies and how much they spend, and I think it's also essential to look at, you just asked the question about crypto winter, and it's essential for us to look at, it's not just the crypto space that is feeling this. You also see other financial markets feeling this, such as the stock exchange. So my question is, how is it that at the same time that you see stock prices falling, crypto prices are also falling? Because it has always been a thing that, when everything is going bad, Bitcoin to the rescue. Bitcoin is usually the savior. So why is it happening at the same time?
Thank God it's Bolu that asked that question. No, it's not me. Okay.
So why that is happening is a lot of people during the COVID period, a lot of people were buying assets. They were staying at home. They testing out stuff, experimenting with different assets. And in past couple of years, it's been good times. The stock market's up, crypto prices going up, Bitcoin hitting about $64,000. So what we saw, more people being adventurous, putting money in different assets. Now, in times like this, when there's not a lot of money to go around, inflation is up, you see more people trying to hold cash, trying to invest in safer assets. And what does happen is that you'd see people moving money from not just in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, even in stock markets as well, moving that money that they have into safer assets, into maybe government bonds. That's why we see in the past couple of months, you say, okay, the US has increased their treasury bond rates. Same thing in Nigeria as well, because they want more people to be able to put money in that. So there's a lot more money in the economy. And then you're trying to push that, reduce the amount of money. So one is people saying the cost of stuff is going up, this asset I'm holding is risky. Can I move that to a safer asset where I'm sure that I would get maybe 2 or 3% annual returns versus putting it in cryptocurrency where it's not so guaranteed and it's risky? So what we've seen is more people just trying to sell off their assets. Yes, use Tesla for example. I think last month or so they sold off some of their Bitcoin. One of the reasons why they sold their Bitcoin was that obviously their stock prices had dropped compared to how the growth it has seen in the past 1 year. So they wanted to be able to hold more cash. And what that proves is that for them to be able to sell Bitcoin as quickly as they could, as they did, it means it shows how liquid that Bitcoin is. So on one aspect, you say, why is the price of Bitcoin tanking? It's expected because everybody is holding those kind of assets and they want to sell to hold cash. And that's why we are seeing what we are seeing.
So essentially, there were a lot of sell-offs.
Yes, there was a lot of sell-offs. And obviously, there's a lot of things that happened in the markets as well, with some crypto companies that affected the whole market as well. Celsius, and then what's it called? US
Luna
as well. It affected the markets as well. But I think, again, back to what you said, we are an emerging technology. Things are bound to be volatile in the first couple years, and then with time we will see it more stable, and we will see more growth.
Okay.
That's an interesting one. And funny you should mention how liquid Bitcoin is, but I'm now thinking about Africa and Nigeria. So, but before we even start talking about all the whole issues with crypto and all of that, let's even veer off a bit on a tangent. Like, Africa is mostly known to be consumer of products, consumer of services. We are the ones that buy the Pomvitas, the Milos. We're probably not the ones that produce them, right? And the same thing with most of these digital technologies, right? Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. We are all like the kings of using those platforms. Yeah. But how many of them have we produced? So now blockchain is like this opportunity that Africans should have to leapfrog, to start building an infrastructure. But it seems Google Trends and being crypto curious and being very, very, very good traders of crypto, that's what we've been known for. So far, so good. So what's happening on the infrastructure front, blockchain in Africa?
Okay, so what we've seen is there are more companies that are trying to build out interesting projects. So even for instance, the Quidax API. So what we did was, first of all, to build an API to help people to connect our exchange and build an interesting product. So we've seen people be able to create savings products with the Quidax API, save asset management products, and as well as remittance products with the API. So while we say Africa is a consumer continent, I think it's a matter of blockchain or cryptocurrency gives us the opportunity to turn the tide. Means that we can go ahead and be on the same way the guy in Europe is or the US is. We can take that advantage but it requires some of that investment. It requires being able to build out a team, and sometimes that's hard. So what we are doing from our end, first of all, is being able to ensure, one, for instance, Quidax API, making it easy for anybody to access that API. Two is going to go back to invest in people. And we'll be seeing a lot more of that from the Quidax side of things in a couple of months. But for that for all of this to happen, first of all, as I said, it starts with people. Being able to educate people, and then being able to show people these are the products that we have, not just Quidax, but other crypto companies, other blockchain companies. This is what we are doing to invest in the space, and that is why, most importantly, regulation is also key to be able to ensure that while you are building out, you are not trying to fight, shadows.
Interesting. So, but how are you thinking about use cases apart from crypto? Is there anything Quidax is doing related to that?
So for us right now, it's mostly cryptocurrency, but we see companies building it in terms of the blockchain space, in terms of the supply chain. For instance, when you buy a product, say from the farm, being able to track it from all the way from the farm down to when it gets to the factory as well, and then the consumer can see, this is what happened, this is where this ingredients came from, and all of that stuff. So we see a bit of that happening there. We see a bit of that happening also in houses as well, being able to track purchase of houses and land on the blockchain space. So there's some of that coming up. Again, it looks like there's someone that says something about how right now where we are at is in the stage of creation, and most of the people that would engage with it are mostly the engineers that would see that. I don't expect, just like a car for instance, I don't expect someone to be able to open their bonnets and be able to start fixing stuff in their car. Not that many will happen, and that's where we are at right now. So until we get to the stage where you see the finished car, all you have to do is just step into your car and ride and get to your destination. That's where we're heading. But today, that's not where we are at. We are still in the building stage, and a lot of what you'd see right now still seems. That's why sometimes it's hard for people to understand some of what is happening today. But when we get to that stage, we would see a lot of that. Where we are at right now is where the internet was 20 years ago. Because people could not understand what do I use the internet for, what's the meaning of all of this. But right now, the internet has changed the way we communicate. The blockchain, on crypto side, crypto is changing the way we think and view about money. The blockchain is changing different parts of the society today, whether it's government, whether it's supply chain, whether it's even in business as well. It will take some time, but we are heading there, and in probably about 5 years at maximum, we will definitely start to see all the work that has been put into it.
Okay.
So, okay, go on.
All right. So I just have a follow-up on what you said about, where we are right now when it comes to cryptocurrencies. And coincidentally, I was just having a conversation with someone recently, and we're talking about, innovations we've seen in the space, blockchain and crypto space so far in terms of NFTs, DeFi, things like that. And what jumped out at me during that conversation was the fact that the person not really someone that knows a lot about the space per se, but the person was like, to get to a stage where a lot of the things we are seeing now in the crypto and blockchain space will no longer exist. Like the level of speculation that we have with crypto now, NFTs will no longer be a thing. And then when the real use case now comes, crypto trading, all those things, they will fade away. And when you think about it like that, you start thinking about the future of crypto companies like Quidax and a lot of other ones. How do you feel about this?
So, for instance, there are definitely use cases as of today in terms of the simplest use case for Bitcoin is being able to move money as quickly as possible. You can move money from Nigeria to Uruguay in under 1 hour. That's like the biggest use case, and that's one of the reasons why Bitcoin was created. Yeah, but beyond things being moving away, we could say the same thing for every single technology. Where we were when social media started is not the way we are today. We had a number of social media companies back in the day that started with Facebook and all of that. All of those guys have faded away.
Yeah.
There's just a few of them that they are today. So what you see is we would evolve.
True.
So some of what you see today in crypto would not necessarily die out, but you need certain technologies to come, and then you build better and you build stronger. And that's what we are seeing. So 10 years from now, would certain cryptocurrencies that we see as the top 100 still exist? Maybe not. However, if those technologies had not come, we would not get to where we are supposed to be. That's on one end. So speaking about, for instance, NFTs, the way people engage with NFTs today would definitely change in a couple of years, especially where we talk about the metaverse. The way I see it, there's this that movie about the metaverse.
Ready Player One.
That is that's the biggest example of what the metaverse looks like. And when you think about it, those NFTs that you buy today, those are NFTs that you use in the metaverse. So you go, say you buy a t-shirt, and you think, oh, right now it looks like it's just a t-shirt. Why in heaven's name would you spend so much money on a t-shirt? But if you go into the metaverse, maybe you're the only one that has that t-shirt. Or you buy a house in the metaverse. And as time goes on, a lot of people will probably spend more time in the metaverse than they are spending here in physical.
That's a good thing.
It depends on the way you see
good thing.
it. It depends on the way you see it, because that way communication is much easier. I can be talking to someone from the US, and right there in the metaverse, we don't have to worry about this thing we're having right now could happen in the metaverse. We don't have to have it physically. So again, you could say it's a bad thing. There's a negative side to it, but there's a good side to it. So that's the consideration for it. But the way I see it is that the world would always evolve, the world will always change, and it is always to get a better version of it, and it's always to make things easier for people, and that's where we are heading.
Interesting one. So the world will always evolve, and things will always change, and apparently things are changing in the space of government. And at this point, I think this is the perfect time to introduce you to our sponsor, Whistle App. And what they're doing is, I've never seen anything like it. Honestly, trust me, I've not seen anything like it. But okay, I have. No, don't let me lie. I have. But what's so special about it is you get rewarded for using this service. Now, let me tell you what happens. You know this whole thing with Lagos traffic where people, many things happen at the same time. Then drivers take matters into their own hand. There's traffic jam. Then you start seeing some drivers climbing the sidewalk, moving. Then when there's traffic on one lane, they start entering one way and all of that. All those messed up things that happens in Lagos traffic. Do you know that Whistle App is building something that you can use to change all that? All you just need to do is to report a driver driving nonsense, and you get paid for it. You report a driver driving nonsense, a vehicle that should be in the mortuary is still on the road, but nobody says anything and no one holds that driver accountable. You should be able to report that driver. So with the Whistle app, you just need to take a photo or a video of that activity that the driver is doing or that horrible looking vehicle. And yes, and upload it on the app and you get paid. Please don't go and start uploading pictures of people that park their cars or vehicles in their houses or offices. But as long as the person is driving dangerously, is using a very, very, very unsafe vehicle, or there's a traffic congestion on the way and you think the police or the LASMA, Lagos State Traffic Management Agency, should come there and maybe clear things up, then Whistle app is the platform for you. And if you're curious about this, just quickly go and get it on Google Play Store. Apple users, don't be annoyed, don't cry. It will soon be available on the Apple Store. So just check it out. Whistle app. Thank you. Yeah, that was weird, but but I will take it. So why I said I haven't said anything like that, I'm thinking this is the Channels has this thing called the Channels Eyewitness Reports, where you can report things happening live, or negative things or positive things. So if there's a crime going on, and now we're seeing a use case in the traffic. So I'm thinking, could there be a use case like this in the blockchain? Like, can blockchain help out with our traffic issues in Lagos? Can blockchain help out with very, very poor vehicles, people using fake vehicle papers to, whether it's vehicle papers, roadworthiness, they doesn't enter the road like that. So, my people, help me out here. Can blockchain help out?
So, at the basic level, the blockchain is simply a ledger. It's a book to record stuff. That's what it is. So if it's, for instance, people that have gotten driver's license number, you want to record all of that, the blockchain can do that. So it's in a space where everybody can do it. And anybody can go and check transactions. So maybe that might be a private blockchain. Maybe the Lagos State government can go and commission and say, okay, I want to create a private blockchain where to see all of that. That's possible. But at the end of the day, as I said, it's simply a book. You could think of it, a digital book where every single person has maybe registered their car, their names are there. You can find out who they are and what their details are of that. Again, why I say it's going to be a private blockchain is because you don't want that kind of data open to the public.
True.
It probably just be governments that would have that kind of access to that kind of data.
So driver's license, roadworthiness, everything.
All of that can sit on the blockchain.
I can also think of another use case.
Okay.
In terms of people getting paid for reporting those things. I think maybe Ezekiel can correct me if I'm wrong, but I also think there's a use case for smart contracts in that case, where you upload it and then there's probably some kind of mechanism that checks how valid that information is and automatically pays you, where no one really needs to be the one to
confirm,
do the transfer or do anything, or you still have to call in, I have not seen my money. Like smart contracts could just automate that.
Yeah, smart contracts can help, but maybe to some extent. For starters, maybe you need to probably to manually verify the data. For instance, the picture that Emmanuel sent to me, is it actually a car that should be parked on the road or whatever it is? Someone might have to do that manually. But as time goes on, when AI becomes, we see more adoption, and it's easier to access or cheaper to access. You will just see maybe AI will just be able to run through that picture or that video to access to see, okay, does that make sense? Does this work? And then you can just say, okay, once it's checked, maybe send it to authorities. Okay, go and find that vehicle and build the vehicle. And then automatically pay Bolu or Emmanuel. So yeah,
that's interesting. Possible. That's interesting. So now you mentioned some really, really interesting points that the government could commission a private blockchain, and we've heard the government commission a private blockchain for something else in recent years. So it's having me thinking about Nigeria's crypto market specifically now, as regarding regulations. I've heard you mention that before. So how, considering the whole regulatory space and the whole bear market, how would you say Quidax is navigating that peculiar space? Because it's one thing for crypto to be having a bear market, and it's another thing for you to have a hostile regulatory environment, relatively hostile or seemingly hostile. Maybe you can help us clear that up.
Okay. So immediately after, I guess you're also talking about since what happened last year, February. So yeah, that was very rough. But the thing is this: since that happened, we've had several conversations with other players in the industry. We've also had conversations with people in the regulatory space, from the Securities and Exchange Commission and even to CBN as well. And I think all the conversations we've had is that one of the key people that's supposed to regulate cryptocurrency is the SEC, and that's why we've had interesting conversations with them, and that's why we saw about last month or 2 months ago why the regulation came out, because as a result of conversations with different players in the space. So what happened last year was, I think they saw something and they just tried to reduce risk to people, which is understandable, because at the end of the day, if anything happens to people's funds, who would you go to? You would go to your CBN or you go to an SEC. There was no way for them to hold on to anybody. So while obviously affected us and of other people in the space, I could understand where they're coming from. And we expect that with continuous conversations and with the regulation that they've the policy that they released about 2 months ago, we should see a better position between players of the space and the regulators to be able to understand what are we doing, and ensuring that everybody is playing fair, to avoid people coming and saying, "Oh, I invested this money and it's disappeared." So regulation would definitely help that, and we believe that with more regulation, adoption of cryptocurrencies would increase, because some people that I even know today would tell me, oh, they don't want to buy Bitcoin, or they don't want to buy any cryptocurrency because they don't understand it and they don't know who to hold if anything happens. So we are definitely open to regulation, and I think it's very important for the space to move beyond where it is at certain points. We definitely need regulation. However, we need regulation to be able to partner with them, as opposed to them being a police and thief.
That's an interesting way to put it. Yes, but I also want to know exactly how that, when the CBN released that circular last year, I want to know exactly how it affected. I've not really heard a lot of crypto companies talk about how it really affected them. Like, what did it do? How were they able to, keep surviving essentially after that? So what did that really do to Quidax?
Okay, so what we saw was, interesting enough, it brought a lot more people to sign up on Quidax at the time, because people were curious. Because if you probably didn't know about something, you're now curious. Oh, what are these guys? Why are they trying to ban this thing? So on one level, we saw a lot more people trying to sign up on Quidax at that point. Also, it affected the ways we could deposit and withdraw Naira. That was the biggest way. It wasn't that cryptocurrency was banned. It simply means that on a normal day, instead of going to your bank app and just sending money to Quidax to deposit money to an Naira wallet, it became harder. So what for us that did was that it forced us to have to be more innovative in that time period, in the very short period that we had. Because in that period, we had to come up with 2 different products to get people to be able to deposit and withdraw Naira. It was tough for people, for the engineers on our team and product managers, but we were able to get that to ensure that product was running, and since that time we've also brought out another product as well. So that's how it affected us on one end, in terms of more sign-ups, in terms of having to come out, see. And then I think one of the other considerations then was we began to ask ourselves, how else do we also reduce our risk in the Nigerian market, to ensure that, we are not just focused on one market.
Okay.
What else can we do across other markets as well? And I think that got us thinking too. And it began to help us approach risk a bit differently. So it was interesting for us. It had the good side of it and it had the bad side to it. But I think everything at the end of the day drives us one step forward. Maybe one step backward as well. But the way we see it is, progress is going to happen, and we believe that if we continue working with the regulators, we would see what we want at the end of the day. We don't see them as enemies; we see them as people we need to partner with.
So funny you should mention reducing risk. I think I learned that another crypto company moved their headquarters out of Nigeria during that period.
Yeah.
So is that something you've explored, or how have you been able to consolidate your presence in any other market apart from Nigeria?
So when I say risk, is beyond just the retail side of this. We started looking at, okay, what else can we do from that end, and then also other markets. So we try to work. So the way Quidax is built today, anybody anywhere in the world can use Quidax. So you don't have to necessarily be a Nigerian. Someone even from Australia can bring in Bitcoin and trade their Bitcoin on Quidax and move out that money. So we're going to see it from those side of things. How do we increase people trading from other countries as opposed to just being focused on one market? And then there are plans also to be able to launch in other African markets as well. We have about 3 or 4 markets that we have plans to launch in over the next 1 year as well. So yeah, that's one of the things that we.
Any spoilers for audience?
No, I can't. No, not yet. So when that time comes, I'll definitely let you know.
3 to 4 markets.
Yeah,
all African markets. Or even all outside African.
African markets.
African markets.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's leave it there. But you also mentioned something about having conversations with the SEC and the CBN. So I don't know how I feel, especially when it comes to the CBN in this current dispensation. I feel a little bit cautious because it always seems as if this is not the first time I'm hearing crypto founders saying they're talking to CBN, and it always seems like, okay, whatever happens in that meeting does not really matter. They will still do what they want to do. So how is this dialogue really going? Like, what's really going with this dialogue?
So the first stage of the dialogue was the SEC regulation that you saw.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
That was why you saw what you saw. So it's definitely, again, a lot of things happen back door, or behind the scenes, and it would take a while for it to show. Do you get? But by the time it does show, everybody will begin to see what's been happening, because it's not just the regulators are trying to look at it from that point of view. How do they protect demand on the streets? And we as ourselves, we're trying to see how do we ensure that we achieve what we want to achieve, making money to move easier and faster, and in some cases make it easier for people to access to grow their wealth. Yeah. So where we are at is a stage of conversations. Those conversations will take time. Yeah. But I think what I can tell people is that continuous. That's why up till today, that's why we had to find ways for people to do what they need to do on Quidax. Do you get? So there's that end. But what I would tell people is that I would say to be patient, because those regulations will come through. Those conversations, the result of all that conversation, people will begin to see that impact. It might take longer than we think it will, but it will definitely come through.
Okay,
but yeah, it's interesting that you brought up the SEC, the recent guidelines that the SEC released, and seeing that guideline, I would say you're right about those conversations yielding positive results. But however, there are some specific parts of that guideline that I still trying to wrap my head around and say, okay, how does this really benefit anybody? And that's the part about CEOs of crypto companies retiring after a certain period of time. Like, how does this work?
You'll be looking at your founders like, okay, let me target
you just look at your founder and say, you just have 5 years, no worry. So,
but stranger enough, it's not just the crypto. There are other industries where you see some kind of changes. There are restrictions, number of years that people can see. So I think in public companies, your auditors can't spend more than a certain set of auditors can't spend more than a period auditing your books. You have to switch. I think after is it 2 years or 3 years, I'm not sure what those things are. So I think what they just try to do is apply regulations from different parts to see which ones are the best. Again, some of these things will change. But that's where what we have right now, we are thankful for what we have, because that's a big step forward.
True.
Whether that could change 2 or 3 years from now, I'm not sure. But it's what we have, and we'll take what we have right now and see what maybe we can change in 2 or 3 years. But we're happy for the 5. If they say it's 5 years, we'll take the 5 years. But maybe that could change in 2 or 3 years from now. True. But at least we are beginning to see progress.
Interesting. So let me just get a feel of what you think about the entire guidelines generally. The SEC guidelines. Looking through it, like I said, it seems like those conversations you spoke about, that are happening behind closed doors are yielding positive results. But what is it that you really that you feel about the whole guideline? How what response have you seen from people at Quidax or at other crypto companies? What would you say how was it received?
It wasn't surprising because as I said, there were discussions behind the scenes, so it wasn't a shock or a surprise because in some way or the other we're part of those discussions. So what we've seen is just, I think right now where we're at is just being to ensure that we are in the pace whereby we can get regulated. Based on the regulations that have come out. It wasn't a shock, we expected it, and for us, we're just happy that it's coming out so that we can at least ensure that we are moving forward. And at least the people, at the end of the day, it's the people that matter, the people that want to use those products. And then if it helps them to use our product, to use the products that have been built for them, fantastic, that works for us.
But there's a very, very big question in the room, because in Nigeria, it seems two conflicting laws can exist at the same time and two conflicting regulations can exist at the same time. How does the SEC regulations live in the same space with the CBN's ban on financial institutions saying don't trade or process crypto? Because we're talking about a capital market here, right? So the SEC has recognized crypto as an asset class, but we're still saying the CBN not budging on their stance, even so far as if you put a remark on your transfer and there's anything crypto related, it gets flagged. So yes, on the one hand, you want the capital market regulator to recognize crypto as an asset class, but if the financial institutions that have a direct relationship to that capital market still can process it, then the whole widespread adoption we're trying to bring forward, the whole trust we're trying to move, how do these two sit side by side? That's what's confusing me, honestly.
Again, it's in the conversations. SEC has said this is what you need to know. The next step is go back and say, okay, SEC, we've met all the regulations that SEC had said. CBN, what's the next step? What do we need to do to ensure that our banks can bank us? Can we go to GT Bank today and say, okay, please, yes, open a corporate bank account and all of that stuff, and people won't have any issues? Do you get? Again, it sounds like I'm saying the same thing over and over again. But to be honest, that's where we're at. Until we have those conversations, until they're able to see this is why what we are doing, this is how it impacts the economy, this impacts the everyday people, we wouldn't see a change. So yes, it seems like there are two conflicting regulations, but there are conversations that have been had around that, and that would help guide us down the road we want to see, we want to be at.
Okay, so apparently there's no perfect way to see this. We just have to be taking it one step at a time, and
take it one step at a time.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense because it's like you said, it's a technology that is still developing, it's still emerging, and regulators and stakeholders will sometimes clash, sometimes they'll make headway, and I think if these conversations continue, like you said, we can always look forward to positive outcomes.
Now a talking point I always drag Bolu for is the whole lot of scams that always happen. And okay, I said I reduced my level of skepticism about the whole thing because when I saw that the crypto market is still actually learning when it comes to crime. So
babies.
Yeah, you guys are babies. But the whole crypto scam thing, I mean, I think we should talk about it. How do you avoid things like that? Ponzi schemes. What are those things you should look out for? That will probably be red flags in any crypto investment you want to make. It could be an NFT, it could be a crypto exchange, it could be a token of a company. So, yeah, what advice do you have on that regard?
Okay. First things first. Don't invest more than you can afford to lose. That's everybody says that, but to be honest, it is what it is. It is what it is. You need to be able to understand what your risk level is and to be able to say how much can I afford or put aside to be able to say I want to invest in this. For some people, it could be 1,000 naira. For some people, it could be 50,000 naira. For some people, it could be 200,000 naira. Understand what it is for you. For some people, maybe 1,000 naira a month is what you put in it. That's fine. That's on one end. The second end is doing your research, trying to understand different cryptocurrencies and why they are created.
Well, some of these scams, they have very good research. I don't say.
Again, that's why you try to reduce the amount of risk that you have. And then also, not just in investment in general, there's also what we call diversification. So beyond diversifying into other assets beyond Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, you can diversify across different cryptocurrencies today. Do you get? So for me today, I hold probably about 10 different cryptocurrencies, at least 10 different cryptocurrencies spread across the different cryptocurrencies. And what I've said to myself is, what are the cryptocurrencies I trust the most? Bitcoin is one of them, Ethereum is one of them, and a bunch of the other ones. You get? So I have in quote a portfolio classification that allows me to say, okay, how much do I want to put in this? How much do I want to put in that? To ensure that no matter what, at any point in time, I am not, I'm trying not to use a big term here, I am not too exposed on one cryptocurrency, and then even entire in terms of investment generally, you're not too exposed in cryptocurrency. You diversify across different investments as well.
Okay.
So,
that's
and then I think just one more thing is just not taking your time out before doing an investment, meaning that sometimes you just see, if you invest in this, you see 100k, or invest 10k, get 100k. There's that quick, your adrenaline is running, and you want to invest as quick as possible. That extra 5-10 minutes I would take, just sit down and calm down and just look at that research can make a difference in between getting scammed or not. Sometimes all those people that message you on maybe Twitter or Telegram, sometimes you see some accounts that say, send so and so Ethereum to this person's account and they'll send you back 50 Ethereum. If you sit down and ask yourself, why is this person asking me to send 20 Ethereum for them to send me 100 Ethereum? Why? They wouldn't just, if they are nice, they should just send you the 100 Ethereum. Why would they ask you to send 20 Ethereum? So if you just sit down and ask 5-10 minutes, or even ask a friend, sometimes that makes a difference. But sometimes we don't want to ask a friend because we also want to be the one to chop out of it, and we don't want to tell anybody else. But those 5-10 minutes can make a difference.
Yeah, funny you should mention send 20 Ethereum to collect 100 Ethereum. Some of them say they were happy to trade, and when it grows, one of them stole my rent money.
Yeah, I can understand what you mean. So that's one of the things that we do. Always say as much as possible. Try to. That's why Quidax is open. Anybody can buy and sell your own. So don't try to give somebody else on your behalf, because it's easy. We've made it very easy for you to use Quidax to buy and sell any cryptocurrency you want on Quidax today. So you don't have to depend on anybody else to trade on your behalf.
Yeah, so interesting points you've made, but for someone that has been just like man was not rent money, I now see why Emmanuel is always dragging me. I can't return your rent money now. Yeah, but the thing is, looking at cryptocurrencies that you can trust, is good, but the funny thing is the ones that seem to give you the best returns are not the ones that are really trustworthy. Those ones that you just see on groups here and there, you just find them, and they will send you the smart contract address.
Everybody's looking for 10x.
Exactly.
I want to put 1,000 and get 10 times the 1,000.
Exactly.
I'm also looking for it. But the honest truth is, I have to be very cautious because the thing is this, how are you going to feel? Are you going to feel when you miss an opportunity? Do you feel bad that you missed the opportunity versus when you lost money?
That question is hard to answer because on one hand, I really wanted, I would I don't want that feeling of what if I had done it. It's like you see there's an opportunity for you to, like, say, get better at something,
So it's a very, very straight question. Losing the money is more painful. It's more painful than wondering, had I known, I should have known. Yeah. Okay, so I got to know about Bitcoin in 2016. I was still in school then, and I could have bought Bitcoin then. It was not more than $1,000 then. But right now, I don't regret it not buying Bitcoin then, because
you probably would have sold it.
I would have sold it probably when the market crash of 2018 happened. I would have been crying, because if I would have bought Bitcoin in 2016 with my students, my broke ass self in 2016, and that crash happened, how would I have survived 2018 and all of that? So maybe my rent money is still paying me now, but
sorry.
But I think the feeling of losing money, like, why did I invest in something like this? Thinking about it, it doesn't even make sense. I put how much? 30,000, 40,000 naira, and you're promising me 20% returns or 30% returns a week. In a month, that's 120% returns. I'm thinking about it like, what's wrong with you, Emmanuel? So yes, I guess the feeling of, why did I not think twice, like you said, why did I not go back and really, really think about what I'm about to do? Because this money is very hard to come by, especially in a market like Nigeria. So yeah, let's leave this topic. Okay. But yeah, thanks for making us introspect here at this point. But yeah, a lighter note.
Yeah, on a lighter note. So I guess it's not news that Quidax is one of the sponsors for the Big Brother Naija show. I think it's one of the biggest shows right now in the country. So
super story, but
you hear people say a lot of things about crypto companies being unbelievably rich, that they have so much money, and then you see Quidax do something like this. We just spoke about crypto winter, that the market is not exactly doing well, and Quidax is doing sponsoring Big Brother Naija. So is it true what they say? Are you people very, very rich?
No, it's not true what they say, at least from my own point of view.
Okay, so I should not tell people to bill you when they meet you on the road.
No, please. They shouldn't bill me. But the thing is, we decided to sponsor Big Brother even before the winter came.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was the decision that we had made. And even when that came, decided, okay, we'll still go ahead to sponsor, because in the times that we are right now, we still need to educate people about cryptocurrency. We need to still show them that you can still trade cryptocurrency on Quidax. And if we don't do that, people will be still asking questions that they wouldn't know. So we had to answer the question and say, yes, you can still trade crypto on Quidax. So it's not about whether we have tons of money now. No, it's not about that. It's simply about where we know where we are heading, and we have to make the right decisions right now, because the decision that we make now can affect people years from now, and that's why we decided to just go ahead. That's crypto winter or not, we still need to use this opportunity that we've been given.
Bold statement.
I think the market is ripe enough to accept the message you're sending, considering everything that's going on.
Yes, we believe it is. For some of us, the objective isn't just for them to just sign up and buy crypto. There's also the objective of them educating them as well. We have an academy that we created a couple months ago, and we're also going to be driving that through BBN as well, to get people to understand and why they should use cryptocurrency.
So an academy?
Yes, we created an
like
academy,
a school or
an online course.
Online course.
It takes about 10 minutes for people to start and finish. 5 videos for people to just understand what cryptocurrency and why they should buy cryptocurrency, and that's why we created it. Do you get?
Okay.
So yeah, we see it as an opportunity to educate people. Obviously, we also want to get people to sign up, but at the end of the day, the core is to address people to understand that cryptocurrency it's not a scam. We're not trying to what's the word? Separate people from their money. We're trying to help people, and we're trying to build. We're trying to build a future.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. That's an interesting one. BB Naija has always been a show that's very, very intriguing. I like to see some research behind the whole concept of Big Brother, housemates together, and I actually applaud the decision to go the BB Naija route because it gives you a very, very wide audience to talk to. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Did I miss anything?
No, nothing. Yeah, just did you see it? The I think it was the Quidax games, right?
Yeah,
that was
Quidax games. It happened last week Thursday.
Last week Thursday. I didn't see it.
I didn't see it.
We have another task coming in a couple of weeks, so you can watch out for that one. That would be more interesting.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's to our fans that are also Naija fans.
I can't. Okay, yeah. If you're a BB Naija fan, yes, watch out for because I was about to record.
You don't necessarily have to be a BB Naija fan, but yeah.
I don't know how I feel about recommending people to go and watch BB Naija when I don't know if I want to watch BB Naija. Maybe I will watch it because of Quidax though. But
yes, please, you can do
because
that.
of Quidax.
Yes, please.
Okay, so guys, it's been an interesting one, and I hope you had fun in this discussion. It's been an interesting, and let us know it's been an interesting conversation, and also let us know what you think about everything we talked about today, from the crypto winter, stock market crashes, crypto regulations, and use cases for blockchain outside of cryptocurrency, and of course cryptocurrency trading in particular. I think that is the main culprit in the whole crypto conversation. And yeah, thanks for having us here, or thanks for coming to.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so wherever you see this podcast, on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and of course the OGs, Bolu.
Yes. Oh, you mean my signature?
The OGs now, yeah, you know them.
All right, yes, you can always find us on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Hi-Hat Radio, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.
Yeah, that was a little muted. It's cold, don't worry.
Yes, it's very cold, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a very, very cold winter, and thank you for joining us today. And of course, you heard about Quidax, you heard about Whistle, and of course, you heard about the Techpoint business team. Why not check them out and have a lovely winter.